This is bad movie fights versus good movie fights. A good movie fight can entertain you. A great movie fight can elevate a whole narrative. But what's the difference? As always, the rules are anything with shake cam is a major no-no. Anything with choppy editing to cover up actors who cannot fight is a major no-no. And remember, no gunfights allowed.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Hill has identified the defendant, Paul Cicero.
Paid off judges. Everybody had their...
So, let's do this.
Let's start off with a good fight. Innovation in filmmaking is exciting and important. This fight from Inception back in 2010, whilst wasn't innovative, was definitely memorable and thrilling. Christopher Nolan chose to use a technique that had been first used back in the 1960s by Stanley Kubrick, the rotating set. The great thing about Inception is that because it isn't dealing with the concept of reality, it can push its action scenes and fight scenes to a level of surrealism. The fight itself, which is intercut with an alternative dream level in a rotating van, isn't a good fight as far as technique goes. The punches feel a little off, and our protagonist never feels like he's under any threat from his opponents. But what keeps the fight fresh is the technical brilliance of the filmmaking and the intercutting that keeps you on the edge of your seat. And for once, the music helps a fight scene and doesn't hinder it. Using the rotating set for this purpose is genius. Just like it was genius back when Kubrick first did it. In fact, in the comments, if you know how they did this shot from Space Odyssey 2001, let me know. I want to know what kind of viewers I have watching the videos. Now, one might even be inclined to say that this isn't even really a fight scene, but merely just a narrative device to move the plot along. Now, that would be cruel, much like how his henchman is dealt with here. I keep saying these poor henchmen get a raw deal. Speaking of henchmen and bodyguards and hitmen, the Hitman's Bodyguard has quite an underrated fight. Director Patrick Hughes does a great job of keeping the energy of this fight going, even though it moves between scenes during the 4-minute sequence. There's some really nice whip pans, quick cuts, and masking to keep the scenes stitched together nicely. The music in the scene isn't helping the action, but I guess for the tone of the movie, it stars Ryan Reynolds, who you can guess the tone of the movie, the music works. I guess. Although it might have been better without it. This film is largely unmemorable, and its sequel, well, the less said about that, the better.
Fucking unkillable.
That line actually reminds me of a fight from Guy Ritchie's underrated Rock'n'Roller, where Gerard Butler's Russian opponent just will not give up. Guy Ritchie loves to really up the ante when it comes to a fight scene. Now, I love me some old round table fables about King Arthur. And I was hoping that Guy Ritchie would make me happy with his King Arthur movie. He didn't. I know a lot of you watching actually love this movie because you've commented on previous videos asking me to cover the fights. I simply can't watch this movie again, it's just so bad.
Bouncing on my knee. Where'd you think I want ya? Hands on the hilt, stupid.
And this fight is actually bad. It's entertaining, I can't lie, but in terms of keeping the lore grounded, the lore of King Arthur that is, this movie really fails. Some of the VFX as well aren't great, but again, it's fun, I guess. One word that doesn't come to mind is visceral. This fight certainly isn't that, and therefore, it's the first bad movie fight of the video. But again, it's fun. And speaking of fun, Daredevil is back. After many changes of writers, directors, scrapping a whole finished series and starting again, we have our Daredevil back, and he's still badass. I didn't think Disney would go so violent, but they have, kind of. However, it does seem like they do a lot of cutting away and not showing the true violence, which actually makes it more violent. I'm not sure if they actually thought that through. I'm not even sure if that was their intention, but that's what's happened. So far, 2 episodes in, there's been just 2 fights, and both have been very good. But what I don't like is the use of VFX in Daredevil's movements at times. Also, the filmmaking to show off Daredevil's special hearing is overused a bit as well. However, criticism aside, this does feel like a positive move in the right direction for Disney's Marvel. Especially if Chad Stahelski, the director of the John Wick movies, does actually direct the new Blade movie. That would be very cool. I do have one question about this new Daredevil series though, which maybe the big Marvel fans amongst you guys might be able to answer for me. Where the hell is Spider-Man? I mean, Kingpin has basically just taken over New York. Where the hell is Spider-Man? Now, I could be wrong, but I always felt like it was Daredevil that dealt with Hell's Kitchen kind of exclusively, and Spider-Man deals with the rest of New York, or all of New York. And this Kingpin thing feels like a big Spider-Man problem rather than a Daredevil problem. But I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments what you think or the correct answer. Anyway, so far the fighting has been really good and Charlie Cox is kicking ass as Daredevil. If it can get back to the levels it got to when Elektra was in the show, then we are laughing. That was peak Daredevil. So, a very short video this week, as life is life in this week, and I've been super busy shooting my own movie and making another video for this channel. But you guys were kind enough in the last video to give me loads of suggestions for fights to cover in future volumes. I'm hoping to make the next video in this series a Raid 1 versus Raid 2 video. That would be epic. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments as well. As always, massive love to the Patreon and YouTube members of this channel. If you'd like to become a Patreon member, it's very easy. You just go here and click on there. Now, what that does, it allows me to spend more time making these cool videos, as well as the fact that you can watch these videos uncut on Patreon. YouTube loves to censor these videos. The copyright laws are pretty stringent on YouTube, and Patreon really is a lot more relaxed. So these videos have a lot more content and a lot more action. So which fights did you think were the best from today, and which bad and good movie fights should I cover in the next volume? Let me know in the comments. This has been Bad Movie Fights versus Good Movie Fights.
Right here, Kingpin, and the name's Daredevil.
You would have to be a daredevil to dare to challenge me.
I'm taking your family. The police have your son, and I have you.
My son?
Hold on, Moby Dick. Time for me to reel you in.